Huge news for Tesla investors. Elon Musk just confirmed that a version of unsupervised FSD is already live. In certain situations, some Tesla owners can literally text while the car drives itself. This comes right after a jaw-dropping new video of Optimus running and an FSD video that clearly shows the car is sentient. Second, the U.S. government just declared U.S. robotics a national priority. And finally, the tide is turning. Even the Wall Street Journal is publishing pro-Tesla pieces, and GM CEO Mary Barra now admits Tesla is the leader in EVs. We've got the bulls here with us today. We got the Power Bull, the Queen, Tesla boomer mama, Alexandra Mertz. We got the Rational Bull, Mr. Incredible, the executive, Jeff Lutz, and the Bot Bull, the master forecaster, the slayer of spreadsheets, Cern Basher. Welcome, everyone.
Oh, nice.
Hi, Herbert.
Hey, Herbert.
Pretty happy, right,
Herbert,
guys?
new
Pretty
intro.
Just for this one.
What are we calling you?
All night. Yeah.
You guys have a lot of names for me, and they're not
Oh, yeah.
suitable for
Safe
this show.
driver.
We don't want to get this video pulled down from YouTube.
Right. We have lots
actually,
to talk
that
about today,
reminds me,
guys.
just a second.
Oh.
That reminds me. Because last night I was thinking, oh my God, this bot, the fingers. I think we have to talk sex about this bot. And then I thought, I can't do this. Look, I knew it. I can't do that on Herbert's channel because
The
it's gonna
hell's wrong with
scream.
you?
But nothing. This is the most normal thing. This bot is gonna have
Wait.
sex
Have you
functions.
seen
And I think
the-
we should talk about this.
Sure. If you see the Huawei version of their bot that they released, it's a female version. It was going down the walkway. That, not gonna lie, looks good.
What? Tell us.
Oh, well, maybe I'll play it later if I can find it. The company and the product. I don't look at the quarterly stock movement.
A very realistic bull, questioning certain decisions.
The rational bull. I enjoy listening to bears.
Looking for the red flags. You're supposed to react.
The longer term opportunity for Tesla is like no other company that I've ever seen.
So let's talk FSD. I just said solve, but of course it's not. I just want to set it to stage. Let's talk about that. So Tesla Economics and some people were already saying that they think that Tesla is allowing you already to text and drive. And he's been using it on his phone and people have been testing it and they're finding this out. Elon basically confirmed, yes, this is the case. Depending on the context of the surrounding traffic. Yes. So let's say maybe it's raining. It won't let you do that. I think Kristen confirmed that if it's raining, it won't let you do it. But if you're on a rural road, it's a straight line, it might let you text longer before it does that. Tesla Economics tested this out and he showed what it looks like. I'm going to take off the music here, but basically here's testing it while the car is driving, sunny road. Actually, surprisingly, there is cars there. He's texting away and it basically, the attention monitoring system lets him get away with it. It's much more relaxed, but Elon did confirm that that's the case. So Jeff, what do you think about this? Is this, first of all, I think it's pretty smart. What a smart way to do it, just quietly and then certain situations.
I think you asked me about this a few weeks ago, or we were asked about how this would play out. And I said it would just be a gradual reduction in the nag. And that's what we want. In fact, I wish this wasn't so talked about until there's, formal approval. I think people should just enjoy it and still understand that you are supervising the vehicle. You're responsible for the vehicle. So, but on the other side of this, there was this safety element of people disengaging FSD so they could text, because in the prior instance in prior software, FSD would, the attention monitoring basically say, look at the road, grab the wheel, and it would turn itself off very, very quickly if you were looking at your phone, if you were distracted in any way. So the whole idea of an autonomous system is to make the road safer. And we know 28 to 30% of all accidents on the road are distracted driving related. So this is a very smart way for Tesla to approach it, to get data and to ease into this, both for themselves and with regulators. I don't think they should make too big of a deal. I think they should just continue improving the software and then continuing to adjust the monitoring based on how well the software is improving.
Alexandra, you actually said, I don't know how you found this info. How did you know? Like you said, you've been hearing that this is already happening a week ago. Who told you this?
I don't remember, and I will never give my sources away. So my thought was, this was a good thing that it stayed quiet, right? I mean, even from me, only very few people heard it. And you know what a big mouth I'm usually when I hear something. It actually, my first reaction was when another female Tesla owner said to me, or said via her husband to me, it shows that these Tesla engineers are guys, because you can now flip the mirror and do all your makeup and it doesn't nag you anymore. Because they must have just had a camera fixing on your hands and your camera and your phone, rather than, you know, when we go with the lipstick and the mascara and whatever. And I thought, no, I think this is improving. But I said, just don't say anything. Good thing it's improving. So I tried it myself. Next thing, took my lipstick out and no nag whatsoever. So, and for a long time, right, I was really concentrating on the mirror, you know, really trying to not look on the street. That was under 14.2, not 14.2.1 yet, and no nag whatsoever. And then first information came that it works with the phone. And I didn't try it with the phone yet, just because I didn't have the time to do it. But I'm not surprised, because that started a week ago. So I think it started with the rollout of 14.2.1. But where I want to go to is, I don't think regulators find this as enthusiastic as we do. I think for regulators, this is a real gray zone now. First of all, does this increase the rate of danger? Not even going to the accident yet, but whatever it is. Who is in charge? Well, at the moment, it's still the supervising driver, right? But he's not concentrated. So what happens insurance-wise, right? Is Tesla now taking over the responsibility for these moments? And it's not, of course it's not. It's still fully supervised. So I think we're getting into a gray zone where regulators are not comfortable. So either Tesla is really quick and good at delivering data, or Tesla is going to ask them for data. I can tell you there's something coming, because they're not going to... I would have preferred Elon not replying. I mean, that this was brewing for a couple of days. And but I would have preferred this would just have continued slowly to the point where it would have been official, and then it's Tesla taking the responsibility for it.
Yeah, that's the concern I have. So Jeff, you were saying that, you know, you wanted them to do it kind of quietly. Okay, that's what they did. But now that Elon said, depending on the context of surrounding traffic, yes, he confirmed it. Now, does that not put Tesla in kind of this legal gray zone? Somebody gets into an accident, they'll sue Tesla. The regulators might come down on them now harder. Like at some point, Tesla does need to go public and say, yes, this is happening, and this is the rules around it, and here's when we will cover the insurance and when we wouldn't, and we've got regulation approval, right?
Yeah, no, I think it's still FSD supervised, and so I don't think any of that changes. You're accountable, you're responsible driving the vehicle. So I don't think any of that changes. I wish we wouldn't be making so big of a deal on this online. Just, you know, use the software, experience it, enjoy it, and let them, you know, go through the formal process. But regulators don't really care about your insurance. They want safety they want overall safety on the road. And I think there's a case to be made, again, with distracted driving, that this is going to end up being a better situation. I think Tesla always acts in a manner of safety first. So I think this is what this is. And I always envisioned that there wouldn't just be this event of, oh my God, it's gone, and there's some big announcement and a party and streamers and coming out and ribbons and so forth. They would just ease into it. I hope that's what they continue to do. But I don't think this changes anything. When you sign up for FSD and you press all those disclaimers, I don't think it's changed from being FSD supervised.
Right. So it's FSD supervised, and they're still saying you have to supervise the car in certain situations. Let's say if it's raining, maybe it's a busy road. They're gonna nag you more. That's all it is, just reducing the nag. So it's still supervised.
My guess is they're going to call it smart nag. My guess is they're going to call it. So yeah, if the traffic situation becomes dense or difficult, or you're approaching the construction zone, my guess is it turns on. My guess is that my guess is the pitch with regulators, this nag is actually more intelligent and it will be enacted and used in a more efficient, more minutes will be used of this versus it being turned off, and users turning it off so they could text or they can do something in a distracted manner. So I actually think if I were them, I would just say that, look, they've been adjusting this nag almost weekly or monthly as these releases come out. So to me, this is just another adjustment that they've made. And I hope they leave like, look, we still have attention monitoring. It's just, it has more intelligence and more AI in it.
Okay. And then Cern, in your forecast, do you have some moment, some feature that comes in that then says, okay, FSD is going to actually be a demand driver? That's why Tesla's doing this, right? Elon said that as soon as you can tell people you can text and drive, everybody's going to want this. And that's why he said, I'm very willing to increase the production of cars next year. Is there some moment in your spreadsheets?
Well, I think this is an example of one. And actually, I'm going to do what you often do, Herbert, and argue the other side.
Okay.
I think actually this is a huge deal for Tesla. Even though the regulators won't like this. The reality is that almost everybody texts and drives at some point. Now, some people, it's egregious, right? They're going 85 miles an hour down a congested highway and they're on their phone. Other people, it's just when they're, rolling towards a stop at a red light and there's, no danger of hitting anybody, or they're alone on the road and there's no other cars around. The reality is that people are distracted drivers are texting and driving. So does this net make it safer? Absolutely. And if this is a demand driver for Tesla, if people become aware that they can buy a Tesla and get FSD and they're allowed to text and drive safely, that is absolutely fantastic. And I think it's one of these cases where actually we need to wake up the regulators and say, you've got these stupid rules. We now have technology that makes it safer for people to drive. The reality is you're not going to stop people from texting and driving no matter what the laws are. It's just not going to happen. Let's bring the regulations into the 21st century. And here's an opportunity to start doing that.
So do you think that Tesla will at some point announce it? Go big, because right now nobody knows this even exists.
I wouldn't advise them to do that, but at some point, I think when they feel like the car has got it handled and they've got the technology to keep everybody safe, then why not?
I think in the cities that you've released robotaxi and the safety rider starts getting pulled, I think to me logically those locales would be the ones where they could maybe make more of a big deal about it. But I think that's hard to do from an advertising perspective. Look, GM made these commercials for the last 2 years of the Queen song, "We Will Rock You," and people, slapping their thighs and slapping their hands and looking at each other while they're driving the car. And so there's precedence for this. I know someone's going to say, oh, that's on a highway, and those stretches of highway, it's a level 3 system or something. Nobody knows that. From a consumer perspective, nobody knows what that is. The way GM advertised that is like, I buy that car, I can do that everywhere. In fact, it's probably a disappointment for people when they get it and the thing doesn't allow them to do any of that stuff. So if anything, the Tesla solution is that, but it's actually the real world now. It works everywhere.
Even in Europe. I mean, have you seen those videos out of Europe? Isn't that fabulous?
For the test drive vehicles, yeah.
Yeah,
the mayor of Rome was in one. And that's the brilliance of what they're doing. They're doing ride-alongs in Italy, Germany, and France. So basically, you have to have a Tesla employee with hands aware. They call it not hands-free. You have to have your hands legally. You have to hands it nearby. The car is driving itself, and then you can have a person ride along with you. This is what Tesla's doing, and everybody's it's so popular. They've extended it to 3 more months, and then they've got politicians testing it out, and German media tested it out. This magazine just raving about it. Everybody's raving about it. So it's
Yeah,
it's
but can
so
you
far very
imagine
good.
they went from autopilot to 14.2.1,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, we are always so enthusiastic when we get next step change, but they had like the whole
Jump.
floor in one go, right? And I mean, and the other thing that's surprising for me, especially in Germany, they were hyping the Bosch software so hard, right? This is going to be the first that's the letdown these last couple of days, the realization. I mean, I can't believe they just realized now, but they probably thought it would just never come, or I don't know how ignorant you can be. But this is a big wake up call in the German car industry. Big wake up call.
And again, I think it's an impetus to wake up the regulators. It's a kind of a sneaky, smart way to get everybody to understand where FSD is and to rattle the cage of the regulators and say, what the heck are you guys doing? You're allowing tens of thousands of people to die on the roads because of your stupid regulations. It makes no sense.
I mean, the deaths in Europe are lower than in the US, just because there's so much more insurance requirements and whatever, and then speed limits enforcements, and then it's just much more denser continent. But I agree. I mean, any death on the street is one too much. And the other point I wanted to make, and it's actually a good thing we're bringing this up now, is I went out about 10 days ago saying I'm going to help build up a database where everybody can see what's necessary in their country, which regulator, which legislator to address a model letter to, or at least get inspired by that. Now, so there's somebody actually working on it already. I mean, my followers are just the best, because you throw it out, there's always somebody who knows how to do it. And so when somebody's already working on it, it started for a couple of countries. But I reached out to Tesla and I said, I don't want us to be counterproductive and just throw addresses and names out, and then those are not the right ones, or these people are getting overwhelmed and it's not the right strategy. So I would like at least a little bit of input from Tesla on the key names we should address this to, or the key countries we should focus to, or at least something, right? And so it was Thanksgiving this week. I don't know whether the relevant people were not there, but this week they did reach out and said, okay, we see what you want, and this is a good idea. Give us the time, because I think they understand that, this better be a little bit guided. I'm not saying Tesla is telling us what to do. We shouldn't do that. I just want from them, where we should prioritize and what are the right regulators or legislators to go to.
Wow. Thank you so much, Alexandra. This is big.
Yeah, it's coming. Yeah.
We're going to motivate. We're going to activate the Tesla retail community, write letters to all these around the world, globally. I mean, it is about lives. It's autonomy is here. Huh?
Yeah, and send them my picture like I'm today. That will be really serious, just to make sure they know who this initiation came from.
Alexandra, I don't know what happens in your holidays, but it's a little too early for me to celebrate Christmas December 4th.
No, the whole thing is that Jeff, with his beautiful hair now, is a real competition, glasses, hair. So I have to add my accessories and make sure that people see me, right? So here I am.
I'll just take the compliment and be quiet.
Yes.
The other thing I would say on this is, I think when Tesla figures out the regulators, the local leaders, I just saw the Wave CEO take Rishi Sunak out on a drive, who's the former PM of UK. And I think Tesla's got to, you're going to have to do this work. I mean, I don't know if you're going to hire representatives in these countries. You're going to hire maybe celebrities or somebody to kind of work with you and work with former leaders, current leaders, but you gotta do some of this work to get it in. And then on the other topic, and I think Cern was bringing it up too, I do think there's going to be a bit of a flip. I don't know if it's going to come from lawmakers, it's going to come from the public, but as this data becomes more and more public, both the data again from Waymo, which is very good, and the data that Tesla posts on their site, when people start realizing, like, look, there's 43,000 people in the US perishing that may not have to happen with this software enabled. I'm not sure we're ready or Tesla's ready for what's coming on the other side of that. And it's an interesting chess match to think about when it becomes something that people weren't aware about. To all of a sudden, it's like we better actually be regulating these self-driving systems to be put into vehicles, and how quickly can they be put in the vehicles?
Yeah. You guys saw the New York Times article? That was
Wall Street Journal?
awesome. Sorry, no, New York Times.
New York Times.
Oh,
Yeah,
Times,
both.
yeah. Oh, both.
Both.
I'm trying to find it now, but New York Times, this doctor wrote an article on New York Times basically saying that the data is clear. Thank you to Waymo for sharing all their data. He dove into it, spent a month reviewing all the data, and he said the data is so clear at this point that if you're a medical researcher and you do a clinical trial and you saw this kind of data of how much this solution is saving lives, you would stop the trial because it's now unethical to continue it. You want to now, this thing is proven that it works. Let's get it out there. Now, he did a fantastic article. I'm trying to look for it here, but yeah, here it is. It's quite a big deal. And I think this kind of, statements from again, big people saying, sharing this information now, not just Tesla, but it's more and more are sharing this. That's what's important.
Herbert, I agree with you, but we are now in a conflict between rational engineers like this doctor, rational people, versus lobbyists, emotional people, and bureaucrats. So we're having a real, tension between people that understand and just rationally bring arguments to the table and say this is it, and then we have on the other side politicians, bureaucrats, and lobbyists that don't want it. And this is going to be quite a battle to watch. I can tell you that.
I agree. Politically in the U.S., you have a faction of people that are shrieking that Elon may accomplish more milestones and goals than any CEO out there, and create a company that's more valuable than multiple of the top companies combined. And if he does that, he's going to have a lot more money, and they equate that a lot more financial power to power. And there's people that want to get in the way of that. And so this is going to be a very interesting thing to watch. I hope data wins. I hope rationality wins, but that has not been, I'm not saying it doesn't eventually win. It's maybe a bit of a winding road until we get there.
Okay. There's a lot of signs. Sentiment is moving, and we're going to talk about the government, Trump administration on robot regulation and other governments. But before we move off of FSD, I want to show you guys this video. This video of FSD is one of the clearest signs. And for me, you decide for yourself. That's what Elon meant when he said that the car is becoming sentient. This is a Chinese influencer who flew from China, a social media influencer. He focuses on NIO, a Chinese car company with their own version of FSD. He tried out Tesla's FSD in California. And while he was testing it out, watch what happens here. I'll turn it down what he's saying, but okay. So I'll pause it here. Typical scenario, right? You're in a parking lot, a parking structure, getting out of parking, and then there's a guy in front of you, and he has to pay his ticket, and you're waiting for the gate to open up. The guy's taking way too long, and this is what FSD does. It backs out. It reverses. It goes, okay, this is too long. I'm going to reverse, and I'm going to go to the other lane that's open. It's like, what? The car backs out, goes to the other lane, and then pauses, perfect amount of time, lets you put in your ticket like you normally would. It's the gate opens up, and you realize it's time to go, and the car moves forward. It just blew them away. I mean, that is a sign that this is not just, yeah. What do you think?
Yeah.
People think of that?
That's what my money is. That's what I want to do.
Yeah. Okay.
There was a neat video too from JC Herbert, who's an Uber driver in Houston, and his video shows the car approaching a railroad tracks and the red lights are flashing.
Yeah.
And 2 blocks away, the car reroutes, turns right, takes a different route, so it didn't have to wait at the railroad tracks. That was pretty neat, and it was 2 blocks away from the crossing.
That is smart.
Yeah,
It's
I think
getting smarter than
these examples are just going to keep piling up, and as the model gets better and the model improves, it's one of these. It's like this. It's alive. It's not this one thing. It's not this chunk of heuristic code that goes out, and the only way it gets better if they release another chunk of code and somebody manually goes in and it's alive. And you know, it's a very special thing where, I mean, you're watching. I don't know if you use chatbots, if you use LLMs, but you know, 1 or 2 times out of 10, you're not getting really good answers. Well, that's not the case in your experience in a Tesla. It's making thousands and tens of thousands of decisions every second, and they're good. So this is going to be a very interesting thing to watch. And that gate example, I hope they figure out a way to implement payments. So there's some sort of Bluetooth Low Energy, something that's done securely over that, or Wi-Fi, where you can also just deal with the payment on your touchscreen or just not have to do anything. So a lot of opportunities here.
And you know, you said it's good. I think it's actually better than me in a lot of cases. I'm not a bad driver. I'm certainly not the best driver in the world, but I'm certainly not a bad driver. And with 59, I've got more than 30 years of experience now. But it's actually teaching me. It's teaching me to be patient when I'm driving with FSD, which is now all the time. I'm much more relaxed. It's much better to respect the stop signs. I know that people get annoyed, but it is doing what the regulators want us to do. It is much better in dealing with bicycles, you know, much better to get the right distance. It does some very smart decisions without putting me in danger. Yesterday at the Trader Joe, the parking lot was so packed, I would have not by myself wingled my way through. It did. I mean, very slowly, but he got around, didn't scratch the car because obviously he's measuring completely differently. It is so much better than me. And it's a pleasure sitting in there and watching it. So it's teaching me how to be a better driver, but I hope I don't need it ever anymore.
Yeah. The queen deserves to be chauffeured. You should be in the back seat. There should be somebody driving you, or the car's driving you.
I need a mirror for my makeup.
Because you need to weigh, right? You need to open the window and go like this.
No,
oh, yeah, sorry.
You don't have it right.
I don't have it right.
But you're getting there. We'll teach you. We'll teach you.
I'm the king. Just kidding. All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's, the other thing, it's crazy. It's Thursday. We're going to publish this on Friday. Just a few days ago, Tesla dropped Optimus bot running fast.
Herbert, you don't want to talk about the hand, right?
Oh, the bot hand. So this is 25. Oh, wait, let's do it properly here. So this is, oh man, I thought this is 50% speed. This is 25% speed. Thank you to Sawyer to put this together. It looks so natural, so simple, so beautiful. It is running as this 100% speed right here. Boom. Beautiful. Dr. Scott Walter said it is called running because both feet is off the ground at one point, and then you can see the toe moving. It's very natural. And it's initially when Scott looked at it, he said that it was running at 5 miles per hour, but actually he made a mistake. It's actually running at 7.5 miles per hour. That is fast. So that's puts that to bed. Yes, Tesla bot can also run like the Chinese can, but even more natural. How big of a deal is this bot bull, Cern?
Well, first of all, the bot needs to get some Nikes or New Balance or some shoe. The foot was slipping on the floor. This is also an opportunity for Nike to double its TAM or more. So wake up, Nike. You should be calling Tesla now.
Tesla's going to vertically integrate. They should make their own. They make their own clothing. Look at this. So why would you? Maybe.
Yeah. Lost opportunity for Nike if they didn't seize it. But yeah, no, it's impressive. And of course, the return video from Figure also was impressive. So it's nice. We're seeing a lot of bots now. The movement is so much more fluid. It's absolutely fantastic.
Comments, Jeff?
Yeah, no, I think in a manufacturing environment, time is everything. Now, you don't want these things running around so fast that there's safety issues or concerns with people. And this is all controllable, but you do want the ability for these things to move quickly because time is everything. So I was really excited to see this. And again, with kind of our bizarre culture in the US, there's, the cavalcade of people that come out and say, oh, Boston Dynamics did this, or this Honda robot did it however many years ago. I look up this Honda robot. How many of those were made? 150 in 18 years in production. So I think people just need to keep their eyes on the price. Same thing when you see the China robots and so forth. Very few of these things are going to enter into production, go through with production, and be successful in production. And so the question is who gets there and what capability of product is ultimately there. So this is a little bit difficult for people who are just casually perusing videos to understand the difference between these videos, but putting it through that filter and understanding what's actually going to be a real product, I think is important.
Yeah, we're back to prototype is easy. And how many have we seen, right? And how many EVs are on the roads now?
And the other thing to note too, Herbert, this was Optimus 2.5, right? This is not the third version. So, we worry about them sort of giving too much away. I don't think they have. Again, this is not the most up-to-date bot that we're looking at here.
I agree. And I don't think the hands were either. The hands that they released the day before, I don't think that was version 3 either. Yet impressive. Really impressive.
No doubt.
Yeah, they're covering it. So this is going to come down to capability and who ultimately has the best product and the ability to produce it economically.
And I think actually there should be ring makers for the bots. You with the Nike shoes, I think they, jewelry and rings for those hands. And
just think of all the clothing designers, all the opportunities they have.
Did you see the Chanel métier d'art in the New York subway that was happening the last 2 days? I mean, it was one of the most beautiful fashion shows I've ever seen, the runways. And I was just thinking, with all these beautiful models and all these Chanel clothes and all, I thought one day they'll all be in bots and it will be beautiful.
I'm not ready for that yet.
Yeah,
I'm just not.
I am.
Herbert, what do you think?
Yeah,
What are you doing? What are you looking at? Yeah,
I'm downloading that video that I told you I was going to download, which is the female robot.
Let's see her. Oh yeah, okay. Let's get to our subject. Let's see whether Herbert is brave enough to talk about our subject.
A female robot?
No.
Yeah. What?
No, we're just waiting. I can hear people laughing their head off when they're watching this show.
Why? Why would they laugh? I'm trying to deliver value here. So,
Oh, you are? You are?
Yeah. Okay. Well, this is the female robot. Oh, shit. Is this the right one?
That's the X-Pong robot.
Yes. But I saw a better one where she was walking down the runway. Yeah. That's the one. What do you think, Alexandra? You like it?
Yeah. A bit rounder than I thought she would be. Or maybe it's just the dimensions.
Yeah, that's not the one I was looking for. Okay. Anyways, let's back to humanoid robots. So one thing that happened just now is the U.S. government, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick announced that the Trump admin is going to do a big push in accelerating robots in the U.S. robotics industry next year. They might even do an executive order on robotics next year. And I'm glad that they're doing this because, I think I looked it up just now. In 2023, it's like, decades ago, I guess it was 2 years ago, China came out and said, we are going to be the leader in humanoid robots. We're going to be the one with the most manufacturing of this, and we're going to support the industry. And they made that announcement 2 years ago, and you saw a tremendous jump of startups all building robots. They're being supported, they're being funded. And then U.S. government was quiet. So we're like going, guys, wake up. And now they took care of AI. They made that push just the last several months. Now they're going to do this in the future. So I think this is very, very good news. What's your guys' thoughts on this?
If you just look at it from a military perspective, this is a of strategic importance, right? You would not want to let any adversary, whether it's China or any other nation, have an advantage on a new technology that's so extreme. So it's critical for the United States, just from a pure military perspective, to make sure that no other nation can develop a 1 million bot army, 10 million bot army when we have none. So just from that level alone. But obviously from a commercial standpoint, to the extent that the government is helpful, and I'm not suggesting handing out money, but certainly incentives and things, I think will make a lot of sense.
And do you believe, because I don't, but do you believe that we will ever see Chinese bots on US soil?
I don't think so, because I think they're the ultimate surveillance tool. Not only can they surveil, but they can actually do stuff. Like the ultimate spy, essentially, not just a surveillance tool, but the ultimate spy, right? They can actually, open doors and take things with them and press buttons and do different things. So I think that would be a bit of a risk. And I would not expect to see US bots on Chinese soil either.
Well, I'm completely agree with you. So I'm pushing always the envelope and thinking that's already true for cars, right? I mean, obviously cars cannot be as fine-tuned spies as a bot would be, but yet the Chinese seem to allow Tesla FSD all over China, right? Would we accept Chinese car all over the United States? We don't. So, and then the next question I have, because I think about this a lot, is, so will we have bots by continent? Will we have European bots, and will we have Chinese bots, and will we have US bots, or will there be some overlap? I think this is going to be really fascinating how this develops.
I think what we've seen so far, it's really US versus China. I think there are some bot makers developing, the bot makers in Europe developing bots. From what I've seen so far, they're not at the level of where Tesla is. And then, of course, you've got to solve the manufacturing problem. I don't think for a second we have to worry about China solving the manufacturing problem. The US, we can do it. Tesla can do it. In Europe, who in Europe can do this? I haven't seen anybody yet.
The OEMs could find a new vocation. Maybe they want to build bots now. I'm not saying they can, but there will be lots of factories empty.
Well, the factories empty, yes, but are they optimized for making bots? Maybe not. Just like their ICE automobile factories were not optimized for making EVs. Same kind of thing here. They have to be forward thinking and make investments in the space. And so far we haven't seen it.
Well, I think so. It's a bit of a mixed bag here. So I think all we have is a Politico report of what the administration may do. It seems logical that we should have a push on having a real robotics program. Just to level set everybody, the US, in terms of bot concentration relative to human concentration manufacturing, we're behind. We're behind China. And if you look at how and where bots are made, where key acquisitions have been made in robotics, I'm talking about conventional automation robotics in factories. Put humanoids to the side for a minute, because that's not what this is discussing directly yet. So if you look at some of the biggest companies like Fanuc, Japanese, KUKA, German, you've got ABB, who's Swedish, who was just acquired by SoftBank. So you've got a lot of stuff happening not in the US. Now, the US has some decent integrators, like Rockwell, for example. But in terms of, this is one of those things where you have to start looking at it like we looked at rare earths late. We should be looking at this and the ability to do this production, the ability to kick up our automation, because we're not going to catch China, and it's not going to happen anytime soon as it relates to robotics and manufacturing, because they build a lot more automation there and they can do it at a lower price. I mean, those two facts are not changing anytime soon. So for US manufacturing, we have to figure out how to do the entire thing together much better. So that means faster through the factory, lower labor concentration, lower capital equipment concentration. We have to re-architect and re-engineer how this work is, how manufacturing is done. So I think there's a broader challenge in front of the US besides robotics. And then once you get past that and you get past the automation to build these humanoids, then you have this humanoid conversation. And as Alexandra was saying, how are these things going to be made? Are they going to be regionalized? My guess is they will be. These are going to be I think the smartphone was the last global supply chain, major supply chain of a major product line. But we'll see how this plays out. But the US has to start making very strategic, very deep moves in the supply chain and very strategic and deep moves in manufacturing. And it better start doing this very quickly.
Yeah, you said it. You're right.
Wow, that's a lot of info. You know this space really well, Jeff. Thank you. By the way, do you guys know that Boston Dynamics was bought by Hyundai?
Yeah, correct.
So I don't know why they were part of this CEO that was interviewed. A bunch of the CEOs were, they had a meeting and they were talking about this already with the government. So, I don't know how that's going to happen.
Well, Korea is an allied country, allied nation, and a lot of the Boston Dynamic assets are here.
Yeah.
But again, you have kind of a mixed bag there, because what are the production assets? What's happened with that company in terms of mass producing anything? Lots of demonstration, lots of video, and lots of capability and know-how. But where is something that has actually changed the course of robotics?
Now, to bring it back to Tesla, did you see that in Korea, 70% of EVs are now sold are Teslas? It's crazy. Korea really becomes a huge market. I think it's the third market now.
And they just got FSD approved there nationwide.
Yes.
So
and they just launched Cybertruck 2 weeks ago.
It's just going to go
one after the other. And Korea, watch Korea.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Another topic here is the sentiment turning? I mean, it feels like it is, guys. You've got all these governments in Europe testing it out, and they're all saying positive things. The media from France, media from Germany, that magazine from Germany, they're all positive. You've got
wait. I think the opposition, because the opposition is scared to death, and they're right to do so, but they have been taken by surprise about this push into Europe for test drives. And they have been surprised of how quickly 14.2 and 14.2.1 came in the US. So I think we're having at the moment a positive wave. It was Thanksgiving. Lots of the traditional organizations were off. This is usually the quiet period, and everything starts again in November. Actually, I don't think it was planned, but if Tesla did plan this was strategically well done. If you want to catch your competitors by surprise, you do it around Thanksgiving. That is the period where everybody's just half asleep, and usually stays half asleep until after Christmas. So they have to reorganize and become very, very aggressive. So you can just wait now for the next articles on CNBC. And actually, it started yesterday. Do you see that CNBC actually had a guy up explaining how to do a put option strategy on Tesla, because this is incredible. This stock price can't stay where it is. It just drives me crazy, because I then did a poll and asked, okay, if Tesla would be taken private at 600, would you sell? And 91% of people said, hell no. So, people don't consider 450 a price to sell. They want to hold this stock for much further. So on the other hand, you have these crazy people saying, oh my God, 450 is so overvalued, you have to put strategies. And the only really national or international financial channel gives 3 minutes airtime to an idiot explaining to you what put option strategy you have to put in place for it. I mean, it's crazy. So you just wait. Those are the ones that react quickly, the competitors, because I mean, this is the end of dumb auto. We had obviously family Thanksgiving, and my son-in-law is considering a new car, and he was straight looking in my eyes saying, I'm considering an Audi. And thank heavens that my daughter, who said, you gotta be kidding, my whole retirement account is in Tesla, we're buying a Tesla, right? But that was obviously not the right argument. And I said to him, only dumb people buy dumb cars.
Wow. Whoa.
But that is true.
That was a good Thanksgiving. Whoa.
But it is true. How can you be today buying a landline phone?
Yeah.
So, I mean, a car is usually at least the second biggest, if not the biggest asset of people. How can you be so dumb to put new, fresh money into a dumb car now? You can't. It's impossible.
What was his reason, though? Is it political?
Yeah, I mean, he's from San Francisco. I love him to death, but I think there was some of that. And then for 3 days straight, I put him in the car on FSD, and that was that. So he's over any political sentiment.
Oh,
He's
he
now
is.
all
He is
on,
going to
he's
now
all
buy
on
a
board.
Tesla
I
after
mean,
he saw
when
FSD.
you got your mother-in-law telling you you're dumb to buy a dumb car. I think that sort of triggers it. But it is true. We should actually tell the whole world. Only dumb people buy dumb cars. And actually his current dumb car, which is a Volvo, I don't remember what it is, will devalue very quickly. The sooner he gets rid of it, the better. You have to sell your dumb cars now while there's still dumb people buying dumb cars, because this is going to be over.
The reason I'm saying sentiment change is that we talked about the New York Times article, which is great. And then this is the Wall Street Journal, who often is anti-Tesla. And they publish this. I used to hate driving. A self-driving car finally taught me to let go. I mean, yeah, it's just one article. I'm not saying that it's everything, but it's just like little tiny things like this.
Yeah, but it's Sunita.
Happening.
And Sunita has been anti-Tesla and I mean, you go into the FSD and any car articles on the Wall Street Journal, and you have him all over the place. And he is, I mean, a couple of months ago, we had the worst articles from him. This is a major shift, a major shift.
And they managed to get a good picture of a car versus some weird picture of Elon with his hair sticking up at 3 a.m.
Right.
So it's a good news article. They got to find a good picture to go with it.
I agree. I mean, it's crazy. And it's how they always frame Elon in the worst possible way. I mean, that picture in Greece on the boat where he jumped in the water, I don't know how many hundreds of times I've seen that.
Yeah.
And
that's a favorite. It's in the favorites folder of Tesla Q. That picture comes out pretty regularly.
Yeah.
Okay, Cern, we haven't heard from you. Sentiment turning?
Oh, I think absolutely. And so it should. The technology is improving rapidly, right? The cars are the safest cars in the world, right? They're now extremely cheap relative to where they were. They're cost competitive with other vehicles. Absolutely, the sentiment's changing, and it should, and it will, and we'll continue to see it change. No matter what the media does, it's nice to see the media, changing their tune. Awesome, but the sentiment's changing. It's a shift.
I think you didn't ask me, Herbert, and you're gonna be surprised, but I think that the stock could move, up or down $50, $60 easily, sure. Just given the sentiment conversation we're just having. But I think when it first week of January rolls around, it'll go snap right back into how much metal was bent. And it is important. I mean, Tesla needs to fund its business. So it has to prove that it's going through this transition effectively and efficiently from being a predominantly hardware auto business with a growing energy component to being a software business. The market has clearly started to value it that way. So, but I do think we'll snap back into how many cars were made, and I think that will naturally snap back. And then all of a sudden we'll be analyzing, Kazakhstan, VINs in December. That's going to be the big conversation. What was Kazakhstan at December over December?
Okay. Other than some government regulators, other than the media, we also have people people coming back and saying that they're sorry. Here's
I don't know about that.
GM CEO Mary Barra in an interview. She said, actually, she agreed, and she said, yes, I think a lot of that credit goes to Elon and Tesla. You know me, Andrew. I don't want to take credit for things. She said that she pulled President Biden aside and said that to him because she knows that that was a mistake of a statement. You don't agree with? Don't believe anyone. Why would she say this?
Let's retrace this. So this is 3 years old, right? I mean, people who feel sorry 3 years later are sort of a bit late. Second, remember when Rohan Patel was on our show and he
actually it's May 2021 was when this summit happened. So that is even 4 years ago. Yeah,
exactly. So it's a bit late, right? And then when we had Rohan on, he explained to us that was a real cringe moment and that he contacted immediately the speechwriter of President Biden, and and the guy said, I don't know how that slipped in there and should have never been in there, whatever. So everybody actually knew from that very moment how wrong it was. So she had 4 long years. Now, at the moment, as you have seen, there are new brackets opening for the OEMs. I mean, President Trump is very favorable to these OEMs. So we saw Farley at the White House on one pictures you showed earlier. They are cleaning his shoes and anything else. I mean, it's just wonderful. So she's just playing how the wind blows. And felt like, it was now safe to throw the Democrats under the bus, especially President Biden, who obviously has no political future at all, given his age. So I think this is a little bit easy. Better late than never, but it's so late and so ridiculous, because it was so ridiculously wrong then, that sort of she could have spared it. She could have spared it. And I want to recall, and there's never been really much proof for it, but it seems nevertheless public knowledge that in 2015, one of the VP candidates of Hillary Clinton was Mary Barra. So she did, in the end, she didn't get there, but she was really close to right up there. And so, yeah.
She also said a lot of the credit goes to Elon.
Yeah.
So
and the
who
rest
else?
goes to her. Sorry, to her.
Ah, yes, of course. Okay.
For the Bolt. The Bolt. Remember the Bolt?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, they had the Bolt, and they let it.
And I think Santa Barbara still has at least 50 of them driving around. I mean, it's just it's the car for all the administration.
I mean, 12% of the credit should go to GM, and 8% of the credit should go to Ford, and 4% should go to Rivian. That's how it should work.
Lucid. Don't forget Lucid.
0.4% of the credit should go to
Toyota should get half the credit.
There you go. Okay, well, anyway, it's too late and it should have been ignored. Anyway, but it's nice because Business Insider made a whole article about it. They were really happy, Business Insider.
Well,
I know you might need to leave soon, Cern. So before you do, though, can you answer this question? We're going to do a little quick question roundtable. When will Tesla allow customer cars in the robotaxi network?
August 2026.
I love it.
Q3 2026.
It's so good. He always goes, come on, dude. August, why August?
With that,
Give you an answer, Herbert.
He's going to leave. He just dropped it. He had to leave. So, okay, he answered the question at least. Oh, gosh. August 2026. I mean, that's the second half of the year. Now, that is when Elon said it, but he's always Elon time. So, but I mean, it's like technology-wise seems to be on track. What do you guys think?
Wait. Is the next question, will the Cybercab have a steering wheel or no?
No. We're still on this question. When will Tesla allow customer cars in the robotaxi network?
Q3.
Yeah, so you still think it's on track, Q3 next year? I
mean, if the Cybercab comes in April, I do believe so, yes.
Wait. Why does the Cybercab have anything to do with whether or not Tesla will allow customer cars in?
That will be 3 months out. And then it's time, Q3 could be 3 months out or 6 months out, right? It's from July to September. But I do believe that's a fair, I mean, it doesn't take much. It just takes the conviction.
I think they want to. I think they want to ramp. They want to ramp their service up with their cars, with their own cars, their new cars that are controlled, and with cybercabs. And then once they've got a lot of that up and going, then they can turn some of this energy towards doing this. So, I mean, yeah, probably in calendar year next year, but it's the third priority.
Mm-hmm. I think you both make good points. If, like you said earlier, Jeff, if you got Austin and they have a lot of Tesla cars that it's already doing robotaxi, right? By the end of next year, they should have lots. And then if they can allow their cars doing robotaxi, they would be able to allow, customers who are driving cars there to be more unsupervised. That makes sense. And then all they need, but it's a lot of work. I'm not saying it's small, but I remember Ashok saying that in order to allow a customer car to be part of the robotaxi network, there has to be some sort of certification level where they check your car. They make sure the tires are not bald. They make sure that everything seems to be safe, that the car's not broken or anything like that, and then they'll let it in. So there's a lot of that work, and they may not want to do that, but it is meaningful because that is the time when Tesla, the promise that your car is an appreciating value, not a depreciating value. That has been a promise Tesla's been offering, Elon has been offering for so long. So at some point, he needs to come out and say, yeah, this is actually happening. You can make money with Tesla cars. And then, Alexandra, you can tell your son-in-law, see, once people can make money with their cars, yeah, all the other cars' value will fall. All Tesla cars will go up.
They're already dumb cars, Herbert. You don't need to wait that moment. I think we should do dumb people buy dumb cars.
I love that. That's a great term. I love it. Dumb people buy dumb cars. I love it. Makes sense.
All is said.
Okay, so 2026 is still going to be a big year. What do you think is the most important catalyst in 2026? This comes because Elon had a post where he, Farzad said, 2026 is turning out to be a very big year, and it turns out to be America's 250th birthday also. Elon said something like, yes, that is right. That is true. But it's so vague. That's a very vague thing. But for Tesla, it is a big year. You've been saying this for so long, Alexandra. What is it that you think is going to be the biggest thing that's going to happen in 2026 that matters the most?
The fact that I said it is not important. It's actually Elon who said it, so I could parrot it easily. But it is, so many things are coming together. The robot in version 3 will go into mass production, both in Fremont and in Austin, and probably in Shanghai. The robotaxi production will start on the 1st of April. We'll see probably a flying car on the 1st of April. So both on the car side and on the bot side, it is a major milestone. When we will see first robocabs, cybercabs on the street without steering wheel and pedals, picking up people that have on their iOS app. I guess maybe the biggest moment is when we finally have the Android app. Who knows? I'm just joking. But when there is this car coming, this two-seater coming with a huge trunk, you put your suitcase in, it brings you to the airport where you do nothing else than having at your home on your smartphone said you want a taxi bringing you to the airport. That's going to be glorious. I think that will be another huge shift in public perception. So and there's so much coming. And then the introduction of customer cars. There are millions of cars, initially AI4, but maybe as well hardware 3, that can enter the network and make money. And then suddenly there will be this whole new environment where you can lease a car, but actually the first week of your month, the leasing costs are covered because you have it in the network or because you are reselling inference or whatever else. But the car is going to be a net money bringer to you, even if you financed it or if you leased it. Crazy. Absolutely crazy different infrastructure.
Yeah, I think in 2026, this transition from a auto and energy business to this business that can do rideshare at scale, real scale, is going to be interesting to watch, and how Tesla manages the messaging, because there may be some period where they're awaiting regulatory approval, and there just may be some weirdness in terms of hardware unit volume relative to the actual capability of the business being much bigger than what they've been actually able to deploy in a given quarter. So you may have some sketchy quarters as this is ramping up, but I think the most interesting catalyst is how many cities and how many rides are being given now autonomously. And finally, how does Tesla, and I think there's a silver lining to this, but how does Tesla manage this massive labor transition of I think there's 2 million people that drive for rideshare in the US. So how does that going to be managed? Now, the nice thing about that is Uber has to manage that with their 40 partners that they have working on autonomy. Waymo has to manage that. So there's other people that can also, Tesla has not been, if there's an Achilles heel, I think messaging is maybe one of them. So having some help in from these other companies in other areas, blazing the trail and maybe working alongside of them would be helpful. So this, for me, it's this auto transition to autonomy and the robotaxi, and then it's managing the public perception of automation and what it does to jobs.
Yeah.
I agree. And I want to add something, Herbert, excuse me to interrupt you. That is, watch out next year for free cash flow. I know we have 40 billions at the moment, but every quarter Tesla wants to add money on it. I do believe, given the horrendous expansion that's going to happen next year, that free cash flow could be the weaker point, right? And that we may eat into some of those 40 billions. And that may be one of the reasons that XII is not on the priority list at the moment. So, the free cash flow management is going to be something we're going to look at every time we have an earnings call. This is going to be, it's always been for a long time already. When I do my tables every quarter and I see all these companies with hundreds of millions of free cash flow, and then there's Tesla with, whatever else it is what it is. And it's great because we're still a startup of so many other projects. But that next year is going to be painful in cash needs. It's a fact. So better get used to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the other AI companies too are going through that for different reasons. And they got spanked pretty hard. Meta got spanked pretty hard for massively increasing spend. And, their stock took a hit. And then Oracle also, they put out this amazing forecast, and all of a sudden they realized, oh my God, a lot of this is deficit financing. Now Tesla has cash, but Oracle just took a big hit. And now in the private markets, OpenAI is taking a little bit of a hit. A little bit of the bloom is coming off the rose. So I think investors have a tremendous amount of patience for this AI trade, even though there's all this bizarre and uninformed conversation around a bubble from people that are just trying to drive a lot of volatility, or they're just misinformed. But how Tesla manages this transition is going to be key, because I agree with Alexandra. They're going to have to spend a lot of money to do this. And
they're the leanest and meanest spender. There's no doubt.
Yep.
I mean, where they are compared to the others, where others throw 5-10 times the amounts out of the window, they're the leanest and meanest. But where they are going to cost a lot of money and costs more every day. That is just the way it is at the moment. And I have to say, I really commend Elon and the teams he has put in place for being very prudent financially, because, as a car maker with the financial strength, Tesla is proving again and again and again and again. I'm not doing these quarterly tables just for the sake of doing them. It's really a nice monitoring tool if you look for them. But we ain't no Google. We don't have the same deep pockets. I mean, that is why Google can throw the millions and millions out on Waymo, knowing darn well this is no sustainable business model. Right, billions. Tesla would never do that. And that's why Tesla is overly prudent up to the moment when they have to take the insurance risk, right? Because that's just a fact. So, that is also money management. But this fine-tuning of management and the shareholder meeting and meeting waiver, which, our CFO, which, was sort of a cringe moment, because he said to me, "You're the one saying that no one understands my Indian accent." I mean, excuse me. Alexandra was more like that, because I was like, oh my gosh. It's one thing screaming on social media.
Going.
It's another one standing in front of this very intelligent, very good-looking man telling you, what a bitch you are. Sorry about that, but that is what it is. But anyway, I mean, the respect I have for him, first of all, coming out and telling me that. Second, that, he is the one who is keeping the coffre really closed and careful about it. And I have a lot of respect, because when you see what Tesla is doing, how numbers of cars have not increased, yet financial strength has improved. So you had, less money coming in. Also remember what Tesla's costed and what margin there was compared to the margin we have now. So this fine-tuning between energy, not going into debt, obviously car margins being where they are, and yet still be able to make net cash flow, and hoping to do so next year with the expansion that's necessary, the changes that are necessary, both in Fremont and in Austin, because there's a whole Cortex 2 to be built. I mean, it's enormous. They will do it, but just everybody buckle up. It's not going to be a straight line up. I can put as many green hats on as you want. That's not going to do it.
By the way, one more comment on this. This is how you know the bear thing. The bears are a cult. They accuse people who follow Tesla being in the cult because last quarter there's all these accusations that came out. Tesla's not spending enough CapEx on AI. Look at how everybody else is spending.
Right.
I'm looking at like how many physical real world AI projects have you deployed, and now you're going to hit them on efficiency because we see the advancement. We see what's actually happening with the product that Tesla's putting out. We see cities being added. We see what's happening, and they're doing it efficiently, and they're getting hit for being efficient. That's how you know it's a cult.
It is. It's us.
So this is a very, very big insight I think you guys have just brought up here. So 2026 is going to be a big year for Tesla. Lots of milestones, right? This is it. This is when Cybercab, and I think when the Cybercab does make its appearance and actually driving around public roads, it is going to be the moment when historians will look back and go, that's when humanity changed, because cities will change because of this. Businesses will change. Everything, humanity will change. But you got that. You went through a whole list of so many things Tesla's going to do, all coming together in 2026. At the same time, because these are all transitionings happening, they're going to spend a lot of money, and they should be. We are very happy. They might be announcing more factories, more megapack factories, more AI factories. They'll be building out the Cybercab like crazy in huge, massive numbers. They'll be starting to build humanoid robots in big numbers. He's going to start building Terafab. I mean, they're going to invest significant amount of money. In the meantime, the actual revenue is not going to come yet until 2027. So there's got to be that weird thing where the story is playing out beautifully, but the fundamentals may not support it. And you're warning people, hey, the free cash flow expected to go negative. How do you guys think the investors will look at that? And they'll go, oh, fundamentals, the company's dead, they're dying. And then yet we're seeing the companies actually hitting all their major milestones. This is the big ones now coming.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it will be negative. It could become negative. So Wall Street will not like that, right? Wall Street is so short-term minded, 3 to 6 months, that the expectations every single quarters may be too high, right? The what we always see, those 15, 16 analysts, they interview and then get them out, and then we may be below those expectations just because of CapEx spending. So it is what it is. As an investor, I mean, if anybody needs this money in 2026 and thinks he can time it, you can't. Nobody can. Nobody. I mean, we're all optimistic at certain moments, we're all pessimistic at certain moments, but it is impossible to time this stock. I mean, I know we can have Alexandra here and he will tell you that with his options he can, but I don't think you can. And then but if your goal is 27, 28, if you think you hold this stock for at least another 2.5 to 3 years, what you care? These can be very good buying opportunities, and then you'll see. Now, at the same time, lots of other things will happen. We will have first milestones that Elon may reach. That's going to give a boost, right? We can have positive outcome from our court cases that will give a positive boost. So, Tesla is a lot of factors that go into a stock price. So I don't want to be pessimistic. I just want to warn people there will be volatility. It's not going to be just we reach this, and the stock is going up, up, up. That's not how it works.
Volatility in Tesla? No way.
Yeah, there is. There may be even more.
Never heard of it.
No. Okay. Last few comments, guys. Anything else?
Good.
Big
Comment
show.
on my head. Tell me whether this is good.
All I'm saying is it's too early for Christmas for me, but okay. Some people December 1st, right after Thanksgiving. Boom,
we're in
trees up.
December. I got my tree here because in America, after Thanksgiving, you put the tree up. And then after Christmas, you put it down because you've seen it so long. And then I had to come up with the heavy stuff. I mean, we're not going to give the whole screen to Jeff. No way.
I know the comments are going to be a lot more happier as the stock has been up.
If the stock is up,
I do notice they do kind of track the comments of like, and the stock's going down. All of a sudden, hey, you're not that smart. You're dumb. Or your hair sucks. I'm like, okay, well, I'm still talking about kind of the fundamentals and what they're building and why they're doing it. That doesn't change, but I understand your emotions may change with the stock price. Everybody should be happy. in a pretty decent mood. And let's see. I mean, you have macro. You have a very interesting situation as the rest of the year plays out. So we have the Fed meeting next week. You know, they have some information that they can act on. People believe that there will be another interest rate cut, but then they'll look right ahead to the next one, which is, there's going to be another one until we get a new Fed chairman in May. So you're in a rate cutting environment, but everybody's trying to call the top of a cycle or the end of a cycle. And so that will continue. So my advice is just to be multifaceted in your inputs and where you're getting data from. If you're just listening to people like us or people on, on TV, it's one thing, but if you're serious and you're researching companies, you have to look at multiple different things. And including, my biggest advice is look upstream in their supply chain, because what they're doing is way more important than what you hear other analysts saying.
That's why we look to your analysis. Thank you for that, Jeff. Yeah, hopefully we have a Christmas rally. Let's see. Well, it's still early.
See, that's why I have the Christmas hat, and you still don't get it.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, and you wanted not red. You want it to be different colors than red, right?
Yeah, and I wanted to talk about the bot's hand, but you're still not going there. Okay,
I did. Well, I'd love to, but I have videos.
He wants his video to stay up online and not get pulled down.
Yeah, that's the thing. He wants to have the kids watch his video so he gets his numbers up, right? That's what it's
Herbert,
all about.
did you get your blue check mark?
I want to get rated.
I did not get my blue check mark back. Thank you very much.
Exactly. So we got our check marks back, and you don't. But you don't let me talk about topics that you don't want to talk about. That's so strange.
All right. Because I changed my profile picture on X, and it takes several days. But for you, apparently, it doesn't. Mine,
it works.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. Great conversation, as always. Big news today. Thank you. See you, everybody. Bye-bye.
See ya.
You take it.
I've created a website that is the most comprehensive resource for the Tesla investor. Please check it out. Simply go to my website at herbertong.com.